One, two, three, the lawn feed.
Welcome to another episode of the Lawn Feed Podcast. Collectively, we are three dads with a strong passion for lawn care. We deliver everything lawn care simplified to you that's easy to listen to in a space where all experience levels are welcome, egos are left at the door, successes are celebrated, and there are no failures. There are only learning moments with a W. I'm Vince. I'm your host tonight, and alongside me is Andrew from the Dad Bod Lawn and Chris Ope. It's Mo Time.
Hello.
And we have a very special guest joining us right now down in the bottom corner, Pete Denny from GCI Turf. Pete, thank you so much for joining us tonight. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm glad to be on here. It's pretty cool.
Woo. Well, we'll get into Pete and who he is and why he's here and the whole entire thing in this episode. But first, we want to say thank you to our friends over at Twin City Seed for powering this season of the Lawn Feed Podcast. They are built on the reputation of superior service, accuracy, and sustainability with custom blending and packaging, high-performance product, and a team of dedicated experts with all of their people and staff. Twin City Seed is a North American leader for giving us DIYers the highest quality and premium and elite grass seed for your next project, whatever that might be. Save money on your grass seed this season by using promo code LAWNFEED10. On top of that, receive free shipping by pairing that promo code FREESHIP24. Twin City Seed proudly serves all of North America. Check them out at twincityseed.com and twincityseed.ca for our friendly neighbors to the north of us in Canada.
Still snowing up there.
Still snowing here. Up there?
Y'all boys can have it.
Yeah.
We got 4 inches of rain so far the past 3 days.
That's like 30 inches of snow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a lot.
You're missing out, bro.
It's a lot. Pete, welcome to the Lawn Feed Podcast. A lot of people, I guarantee, know who you are. For those who are living under a rock and they don't know who you are, can you give us a little bit of who you are, why you like taking care of grass so much? Yeah.
Well, I guess the main reason is I do it for a living and provide for my family. I've been in lawn care for it's almost 21 years now. May it'll be 21 years. And started off one-man show, and we've grown to 15 employees. And 6-7-ish years ago, I threw some stuff on YouTube to show some local clients how we do things in the yard. And then everybody started asking questions in the comments, and it just took off and went crazy from there. And then now we got basically a full-blown e-commerce business and social media and just going berserk right now.
It's destiny.
Yeah, I can agree with that. And it's just weird, man. I've always been the guy that I don't let opportunity pass. And in my local company, long before YouTube, when I see a something happening that I can go with it, and especially if it's going to better me or better my family, I've always been the guy that's like, all right, let's try it and see what happens. And this whole internet website thing, it was the exact same way. Had no clue what I was doing in the beginning. Just little light research online, how to build a website, how to do this, how to do that, and just trial and error, testing different things out. And now we got a pretty strong grip on it, and it's doing incredibly well. So fate, destiny, whatever you want to call it, I jumped on the boat and I'm still sailing.
That's awesome. That's cool. How long did it take for you to start getting a lot of followers and seeing that this is something that you need to pursue even further?
Well, when I loaded those first few videos, I think the first one I ever loaded on YouTube was some of my employees blowing leaves in a guy's backyard, because another customer was questioning what we did or how we did it or something. And I didn't have a way to send, well, actually I wanted to send 600 or 700 customers, local customers, I wanted to show them all how we did it. And YouTube was a platform where you could, post a link or post a video and send them a link. And, in an email, it's hard to send 600 or 700 people a video at one time. And I can't even remember how it happened. I mean, it happened so quick and so fast. And people would ask questions in the comments. I'm like, well, gosh, that's easy. I've been doing that for 20 years or, whatever. I said, well, I'll make a video and show you. And it just snowballed like that. And I honestly think as far as the number of subscribers goes, I think I got into it at the right time. Right now, I don't even have a clue how many yard channels there are, but I know there's probably a lot of them.
There's a lot.
And when I started, I think it was me and Alan, and I think maybe Noor out west was doing it, and maybe a few more. I don't know. I don't keep up with that kind of thing. I'm just guessing, but it's all organic. I don't do any. I don't know. Can you run an ad on there to get more subscribers? I don't even know if you can do that, but it's just organic and just show what I do. And if you like it, subscribe. If you don't, keep going.
I think that's the first time we've ever been called out west. Because I'm right above Ryan. And he's in Iowa, and I'm in Minnesota, and I mean we're like dead smack dab in the middle of the country.
Okay,
we'll take the West Coast. That's good.
Maybe my geography is not all that great.
Hey, it's Mississippi almost. Yeah, Mississippi.
It's flyover territory. It's
that's right.
We're used to it.
Right. No, Pete, you definitely are one of the OGs. I think that a lot of us grew up in this lawn care community, kind of looking up to and watching the videos of, and you've definitely had an impact on all of us. And yeah, I think the timing of you getting into YouTube was huge, because I think it's very saturated now, including goofballs like us, trying to put stuff out as well. But I want to learn a little bit about what got you into your lawn care business 20 plus years ago now. Like what got you into lawn care in the first place compared to, finding another profession?
Well, I grew up on a farm, 100-acre tobacco farm, and I've had these in the dirt my whole life. So I like that type of work. And 21 years ago, I asked my wife to marry me, and we were about to get married. We were a month away from getting married, and I got fired. I used to run a propane truck for a gas company, and I got fired for something I didn't do, but that's a different story. And a month before getting married, so to try going to the father-in-law and say, hey, I'm going to marry your daughter in a month, but I ain't got no job. And, just I've always been a scrambler and a hustler. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go cut grass. I'll mow yards, do whatever in people's yards. Because it was just natural to me. Because like I said, I've been playing in the dirt my whole life. And that's what I did. I had a 1991 or 1992 Toyota pickup truck. And I didn't even own a trailer. I had to borrow my dad's trailer. And I had a little push mower and a string trimmer. The old school style at Lowe's where the shaft kind of curls down to the head. I had that one. And then I had to borrow a friend's blower. So I had a borrowed trailer and a borrowed blower, and the trailer didn't even have a ramp on it. You had to take 2x4s and hang them off the end of the trailer and push the mower up on it.
That's dicey.
I literally drove house to house. They say house to house marketing or whatever you want to call it. That's what I did. I went house to house, knocked on the door, said, hey, I'm Pete. I'll mow your grass. I'll pick up your sticks. I'll clean your leaves. I'll clean your gutters. I don't care. I'll do whatever. I need to work. So I'm getting married and I need to bring in some money. And it just took off. And I've always been a real peculiar dude. And I believe that your work, your quality of work reflects who you are. And I will not leave a property unless it's perfect. I don't care how long it takes me. It will be perfect when I leave, or as close to perfect as a human can get it. And that word of mouth locally, I've never advertised in my local business ever. And that word of mouth just travels, and it just kept growing and growing and growing.
Which,
So-
if you're talking about the word perfection, and we haven't talked about this yet to our listeners, but if you don't know who Pete is, you need to go check out his channels at anywhere, because he has one of the nicest lawns in the country, if not the globe. And when he talks about perfection, he does that to his own yard, and he does that to everyone else's that he takes care of. And it's really, really cool to watch. Any time that you post like a drone shot, or you mowing stripes or doing anything like that, even the close-up ones, I'm just like, Jesus, this is awesome.
I think that's one thing that really
it's so fun to watch.
And I think that really sets you apart from a lot of other professionals that I've come across. Is a lot of professionals are, they might do content out in lawns and stuff, but then they get home, they don't do any DIY stuff or show anything in their own yard. Or a lot of times they probably don't want to do anything in their own yard, right? Like, you don't want to bring work home with you, but clearly it's a passion for you, and you enjoy doing it whether you're on the clock or not.
Yeah,
Which is cool.
It's like the plumber got busted pipes, that kind of thing. But man, I like a pretty yard, man. I mean, I've been blessed with a nice home, and just stuff, and I'm just a guy who likes to take care of it. And I honestly believe that probably stems from growing up in a farm setting, to where we put the tractor under the shed. You check your oil. You do all the things. You take care of your equipment, because when you're out there in 95 degrees all day long and working with those, that's hard work. It's back-breaking, tough work, and you want to take care. And so it takes a lot of effort to make that money. So the money you spend, you want to protect it, that investment. And I think that's just where it all stems from. Is I grew up working hard, and I still work hard now, but I just want to take care of everything I got. And stripes never hurt nobody, I don't think. So that just kind of adds to the the whole thing.
You got to make a T-shirt that says "Stripes never hurt nobody."
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Awesome.
So the reason why we have Pete on tonight is not only to hear his backstory, talk more about him, but like he said, he started this. He is a professional in the turf industry, and he also has a huge passion for teaching others. And he has a whole line of different equipment that he has created himself and spent years and thousands of dollars creating to help the DIYer. So he comes home and he sees what he does in his professional role, and he tries to make it something that the DIYers can use. So we're going to get into that shortly. But first, it's time for Dad's Wins and Losses, which is sponsored by WaySafe Trailer Hitches, which are the only trailer hitches on the market that have built-in scales to measure the tongue weight to improve towing performance. This feature helps keep you safe while you're driving, and your family safe whenever you're towing RVs, trailers, boats, whatever. Go check them out at way-safe.com. And now, Chris, let's get into some Dad's Wins and Losses.
Let's hit it.
A lawn feed tradition where we tap into who we are at heart. Dads! This is Dad's Wins and Losses, where we tap into our inner dad bod father figures and highlight some of the recent wins we've experienced as parents, and of course, vent about the embarrassing losses we take each and every day as dads.
I love you.
So Pete, you have the honor of being our guest, which is also a tradition that we hand the ball off to you to give us one parenting win and one parenting loss. Could be recent, could be from a long time ago, but the floor is yours, my friend.
Okay. I've been thinking about this hard, and actually laid in the bed the other night with my wife saying, all right, we got to think about this. I want to make sure I get the loss part right. I know what my wins are, but definitely want to get the loss part right. And we talked about it. And so I've got some good things here. 2 wins. One is a overarching win. And the second one is going to be a little bit of a piece of advice for other dads. But if you do it, it's a win. Obviously, if you're not like you said earlier, if you're living under a rock, you don't know that I'm well outspoken about my faith. And as a believer in Jesus, the number one priority for the dad and the mom is to see your children into that faith and not force them into that faith, because that's a personal decision to follow Christ, but to train them in those ways. And all three of my kids have been saved, accepted Christ as their Lord and Savior, and that was their decision. We just helped get them there, and that ultimate win for a dad. It doesn't get any higher than that. The second win is my daughter is 17, and she has started dating.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So she's on boyfriend number 2, and she's very grounded in her faith. So that's a positive. She knows her limits and what she can do and what she can't do inside that realm. But here's my advice to dads. And my daughter and I have a very tight relationship since day one. Since she could conversate and have a conversation in English, I've always told her, I got your back. I want to be the man in your life until you get married, and I want you to trust me with anything. You come to me first. Yeah, I'm going to probably tell you some things you don't like. I might hurt your feelings. I might punish you. I might discipline you. But at the end of the day, I love you more than anything in this world, and I want what's best for you. So we've had an agreement since day one that I will handle the boys that approach her. So we have a ongoing rule in our house that all boyfriends go through Pete. And what that looks like is Pete takes the boy out on a date the first time, because this young man is going to be dating the most precious thing in my entire life. And if he ain't up to my standards, he's not going to do it. So might sound a little tough, might sound a little over the top, but I know all too well what little boys are capable of, because I was a little boy one time, and I know my past and I know my history, the way I manipulated women. I used to be a major drug dealer. My past was just incredibly evil, and I took advantage of many, many, many women, and I know what boys are capable of, and I don't want my daughter anywhere remotely close to it. So I know what to look for. So I don't go out with the boy to bully him. I don't go out with him to show authority. I go out with him to get to know him. Just like I'm sitting there talking to you, is the same conversation I have with this boy. I actually meet with the parents when I go pick him up, and I'll let them know, hey, I'll protect your son with my life if I have to. I simply want to get to know him, because he's going to be dating the most precious thing in my life. And that's been an ongoing rule since day one here. And the first boyfriend, we went out, had a great time. I set some ground rules, said, this is what I expect out of you if you're dating my daughter. And he didn't work out. And 9 months has went by. And now she's got a guy that she's interested in. And I took him out the other night, and we had a good time and talked, and just kind of told him, hey, this is what I'm about. This is what Leah's about. And we just want you to respect her, respect me, my wife. And as long as all that's good, dude, you got a friend for life. But just you with my daughter. So that's why we got that in place. My loss has got to be my time management, if I'm being honest. When the whole YouTube thing kicked in gear 6-7 years ago, I missed out on some stuff because I was too busy behind the camera, too busy filming, too busy growing the business. and I missed out on some things at home that I probably should have been there. Dad probably should have been there. And of course, I've got that on a much tighter grip now, and I'm always trying to improve it now. But that's got to be my biggest loss as far as being a dad is I miss some ball games I should have been at, or I miss some moments in my kids' lives that I probably should have been there instead of out trying to make money. I'm providing for them and putting clothes on the back and all, but we already had clothes on the back and we already had money in the bank. You know what I'm saying? So that's my wins and losses, I guess.
No, those are good wins and a good loss. I mean, it's a good reminder because I feel like it's so simple or so easy to get lost in your phone on social media, thinking you got to edit stuff all the time and just day to day. And it's a good reminder to pause and spend time with your family.
Mm-hmm. Whether you're editing a video or on the other end of that, consuming it too, mm-hmm. right?
Yeah.
Just becomes so addictive and part of life now where, yeah, that's for everybody. Whether it's now or, 10, 15 years ago. It's crazy. We're all guilty of that. So that's it's always a good reminder.
Mm-hmm.
And Pete, I have a 6-year-old daughter. She's my oldest. I have a boy and a girl, and she's my oldest, 6 years old. And I was actually she's grown up in front of my eyes, right? Like acting like a teenager already.
Did you take her first boyfriend out to dinner too?
Well, that's kind of where I was getting at. Is like I actually was. Well, she doesn't have a boyfriend. She's not going to for a long time. But I've already been thinking of like that first time and how am I going to approach that. And I think what you're doing is actually wonderful. And I think if I had a guy sit me down when I was in high school, like you do with these gentlemen. I mean, every relationship I was in, I was like, had good intentions and the best intentions, but I think that to kind of just like solidifies, okay, like this is not something to take lightly. This is, this is a responsibility and someone's looking after this girl. And, I don't know, being a girl dad, it's like, it makes you change your thought process on
it's
everything.
Different, bro.
Mm-hmm.
It's different.
It's very, very different. And so I can appreciate both your messages because time management is another thing. I think, being a creator in any kind of sense is is difficult, especially with a full-time job. So
yeah, and I just want to reiterate that I don't do that to bully. I'm not that dude. I'm not going out and saying if you touch my daughter, I'll break your neck. I mean, I'm not going to do that. But it's more of trying to build a rapport and a relationship with this dude because he might be hanging around for a while. And I want him to like me. You know what I mean?
Right. And some of the best relationships that you can have, even if like you end up not marrying that person, it's like if you get along with a dad, like that's a lot of fun.
Exactly.
At the house, like you find out he plays golf, you go play golf. It's good to have that. It's a healthy relationship to build. So that's really cool. I can appreciate that.
Yeah, he was already asking me, "Hey, you mind if I run your tractor one day?" And I'm like, "Well, gosh, hey,
whoa.
Way to get those brownie points, dude."
Can I mow your lawn?
Yeah.
Okay, meeting's done.
No, that ain't gonna happen.
All right. Well, let's get into it. So if you guys have seen, we've talked about different grass types, what might be best for you in our last episodes. And we also just talked about herbicides and what herbicides we think every beginner should know as a starting point for some of the more popular weeds. Today, as you've already listened, we have Pete from GCI Turf, and we're going to get into some essential DIY equipment that he thinks is essential for the DIYers, meaning the very new beginner to someone that's been doing it for several years. And he's been generous enough to give our listeners a coupon code, a discount. So anything in his store, use code LawnFeed, and you'll get a discount. It's from April 11th to 4/18 this month. So if you are, after you listen to all the good stuff that he has to say, hop on his website. Pete, what is your website?
GCITurfAcademy.com.
Hop over there and use code LawnFeed and get yourself a little discount.
I had no idea about that. Thanks, Pete.
Well, I told Vince I was going to surprise him. So
Yeah.
That's sweet. Well, you did a good job at the surprise. Vince, I had no idea if you knew that or not, but appreciate that.
he
Go take
didn't
advantage of that
until
for
about
sure.
30 minutes ago.
Yep.
He did send it to it. Vince sent it in a text like 2 minutes before you hopped on, I think. But yeah, it's awesome. Appreciate that, and all of
You're
everybody
welcome.
listening, go check out his website, and we'll be getting into some of the equipment here in a minute. DIYers really like to mimic what pros do, just on a much different level, right? You know, we have different abilities, different budgets, and obviously the free time's not necessarily there for a DIYer. What kind of equipment do you run for your pro equipment in your businesses? Let's start there and kind of scale that down to the DIYers.
Okay.
Eventually here.
Mowers. We run Wright ZK stand-on mowers right now, currently. Our string trimmers, we run the Echo SRM 250, 230, something like that. Been using Echo since day one, 20 years. Echo stick edger. We started off running Echo backpack blowers, then we moved to the steel, the BR 600, because they were lighter, and at the time they blew harder. And now we've switched back over to the new Echo. So pretty much all Echo stuff, Wright ZK, and then we run Stinger aerators, pluggers, the ride-ons, and then we have Grasshopper aeravators. All our seeding crews go out with a Grasshopper aeravator and a Stinger core aerator and a Turfware ride-on spreader sprayer, and do their job and come back. And that way, when they go out to do seed work, if they run into hard pan ground, aeravator. If they get on a nice lush yard or a so-so yard, and all we need to do is core aerate it, they're equipped to do whatever. And then we have some specialized type stuff like the Ventrac. I know you've seen that. That's probably my favorite piece of equipment that I own, because it's one compact tractor, and the jobs you can do with it are endless. You can do anything with it. We run mowers with it, aeravators, grading, power rake, rototilling, reel mower, whatever. And then I myself run a lot of the kind of the specialized athletic field equipment. We manage around 40. I manage around 40-ish athletic fields: softball, high school baseball, high school football. And so I got the big top dressers, and the big Toro Multi-Pro, the big 20-foot boom sprayer, which I can be on that thing all day long. And I can spray grass all day long. Just give me my headphones, leave me alone, and I won't bother nobody. The ABI Force, you've seen my ABI, where I laser grade the infield, baseball infield. So it's a plethora of different things, but we keep it in a niche, meaning we do high-end residential maintenance, we do a few commercial, and then we do fertilizer weed control, and that's the second division in my company. And then we got the athletic field stuff. So basically all that is split up into 3 divisions, and we really don't go outside of that.
That's
How
impressive.
did you? It really is. I knew about the athletic fields for a little bit. You just reminded me that you've got a ton more than just that. So you got what you just said in kind of your 3 verticals. What made you get into the DIY realm and what you do now?
Do you want to know the truth, or you want me to fudge it?
Let's do the truth.
Okay. Here's the reason I got online with the DIY thing is my good buddy. Somebody asked me to write a guide. Somebody asked me online on a comment, can you make me a guide or teach me how to grow this grass or something along those lines? And that's how the lawn care guide started. So that was a little part of it. All right. The second part of it was, in one of my videos, I've always done like custom blend fescue. Like I don't just go buy off. This is way before YouTube. I don't just go buy off the shelf fescue. I like to blend it and get the varieties that I think is going to work best in our area. And we had gotten to the point where we were buying so much grass seed that I could put my name on the bag. And for me, I was like, "Woo, that's a big deal, man! Look at me, I got my name on a bag of grass seed." And that bag of grass seed was sitting in the background of a video one time, and I didn't even know it was back there. And this dude named Michael tracked it down, or tracked me down, and sent me an email, I believe, the first time, said, "Hey, you mind selling me a bag of that grass seed?" And I was like, "How about I sell everybody a bag of grass seed?" That was literally my thought. When he said, I was like, this dude has tracked me down. Right. And actually, Michael is actually one of the best friends I've got in my entire life right now. That's how we met, because he saw that bag of grass seed and he wanted a bag. And come to find out, the Joker tracked down my supplier, and then he emailed me a picture and said, "Look, I got a bag of your grass seed." And I'm like, "How the heck did you do that?" And so we just hit it off, and we've been buddies ever since. But that, and then along with, here's the part I didn't want to say, but over the years, and this is going to sound very unhumble, but I'm saying this in humility. Over the years, I cannot tell you how many customers I've had locally that I've said, "You need to do this, 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 and this, and you need to do it in this order within this time period, and things will happen right." And they wouldn't do it. And the next year would come up. I say, "No, you need to do this, 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 and this." And it kept snowballing. And I never got, a lot of my customers would follow instruction and do it well. And this is where it's not going to sound humble, because I don't know everything about turf, but I do know how to grow it. And the things I was teaching, they weren't listening. And I was getting frustrated, like, dang, I'm trying my best to help you. Just water the grass like I tell you to, and it'll do fine. Or mow the grass the height I tell you to mow it at, it's going to do fine. I don't know the science all behind it. I just know it's going to work. And now being online and seeing people listen to me and actually do some of the things I'm trying to show you to do, that's what's a good word for that? It's exhilarating for me to know that I am actually, the information coming out of my mouth is going in another person's ear. He's applying it to his yard and he's getting results. And I'm like, heck yeah, that's so awesome. I've been trying to tell my people that live in my own freaking neighborhood for 20 years to do that, and they won't listen to me. But this dude that don't even know me, that lives in Texas somewhere, will. And look at his yard. It's killer. So that's kind of, that's a little bit of why I got into DIY. It's because I found out people will actually listen to what I say.
Yeah, and you do a good job of it too. I think that, there's you said that you weren't going to do that humbly, or you weren't going to say that but you nailed it right on the head. It's just people are lazy and sometimes don't want to do the work to get the end result.
I'll agree with that wholeheartedly.
You can just paint it.
Yeah, just paint it.
Why not?
It's all good.
Why not? The Atlanta Braves do.
Why not? So yeah, pro teams do it. It's all good. Yeah. So we've got kind of best of both worlds with you, right? So we've got a deep and heavy commercial, business side of it with the pro equipment. You're spewing that advice over here on the residential side. We also have the equipment part, right? That, because all of the equipment that you just mentioned, my guess is half our listeners were like, "Whoa, that's something I've never even heard of," right? Mm-hmm. Or this, that, and the other thing. So how did you, because this isn't like a normal thing, it's very unique to you. How did you decide that you wanted to take pro equipment and create it for the DIYer that you just mentioned?
That's easy, man, because nobody else did.
It's very unique.
nobody else has done it to my knowledge. I mean, I'm sure there's some website out there that customizes or specializes in spray equipment for, and market it toward homeowners. I'm sure there's somebody, I just ain't seen them, but yeah, I just want, it's fun for me spraying yards. That's the most funnest, the most fun I have at my job. I don't know. Let me see. I
Not
like my
running a
working on
bend
my.
track or ABI.
I like working on my ball fields now. I ain't gonna lie to you.
What to say? The athletic fields.
Ball field work and spray work, they're hand in hand. I love spraying grass. It's a joy for me. It's a pleasure. It's relaxation. I like the aspect of applying a liquid and getting a very quick result, a visual. And I just like, homeowners should be able to do this. I mean, it's simple as pie. I can go out and spray my yard right now in the pitch black dark, and it'd be the calibration, the application will be perfect. That's just how dialed in I have it dialed into. And my equipment allows me to do that. And the homeowner shouldn't be limited to a 1 gallon pump up sprayer you go buy at Lowe's. It shouldn't be limited to that. They should have access to high quality, accurate spraying equipment. And that just happens to be one of the things that I'm in love with. And I got an audience on YouTube. I know people in the spray business. It just made sense.
Yeah, that's sweet.
So with your, and this can encompass any equipment, not just spray equipment. What are your top four? What are the top four pieces of equipment for DIYers that you think that they should have? You're just starting out, or you're already doing it. Stop what you're doing.
I'm prepared. I'm a prepared person.
Colored ink, everything.
That's right. So top equipment for a DIY. Obviously, you have to have a lawnmower. If you're going to mow grass, you have to have something to cut it with. And I personally believe you should buy the mower based on two things. One being your budget. I'm never a fan or proponent of someone going into major debt to buy a lawnmower. Now, business side of things, it may be a little bit different because you're going to have debt. But a homeowner with a 3,000 square foot yard probably shouldn't go out and buy a $20,000 walker. It just doesn't make sense. That's kind of the point I'm driving on. So the second thing is get a mower based on your square footage. Get the size deck that fits your square footage. Small yard, small deck. Big yard, big deck. Next thing you need is a trimmer, like a string trimmer, weed eater. Different people call it different things. Stick edger. I'm a stick edger fan, meaning when you edge out hard surface areas like your concrete, anything hard in the ground that has a hard edge, irrigation boxes that are out in the yard. I don't care how good somebody is with a string trimmer. If you have a straight concrete edge, you're going to wave it a little bit. At some point in time, you're going to wave it. And when you open that ground up, that little bit of dirt, you just expose the ground and allow the sunlight to cook that ground and allow something to germinate. When God created the dirt, he created it to cover itself. That's why you ride by a plowed up field, and then 2 weeks later you ride by it, something's done come up. Well, they didn't plant nothing in it. It just come up out of the ground. It's designed to do that. So anytime you have a bare spot in your grass, along the edge, it's going to come up. A stick edger, 99.99999% eliminates that because it's a straight fixed blade cutting along a straight edge. So you get rid of that.
Hey Pete, to back you up there. So you mentioned lawnmower, best lawnmower for DIYers. So I think most people probably have around the 5,000 to 10,000 square foot mark. So what are two good mowers? Are you recommending they go out and get battery mowers or stay with gas? What would you say?
Man, I got my little Allet battery mower, and I think that's specialized. But as far as a like a push mower or something like that. I don't even have a battery mower. Everything I got's gas, so I'm not the guy to ask about that. 5 to 10,000 square foot yard, something around the 21 to 30-inch range. I think the Time Master's a pretty popular mower. So a little bit on the pricey side, maybe for an introduction mower. But I think Toro makes several good 21-inch models. Honda. Yeah, you don't see many Hondas out there. Honda makes a real good mower. At least the ones I've used, they've been really good. And you can get those at like Lowe's and places like that.
Yeah.
So.
Was that Vince? We were just talking the other day. Aren't they no longer
they-
making Hondas in the U.S.?
They don't make Honda in the U.S. anymore. Yeah,
they're getting pulled from the shelves eventually. Like whatever you see in like on shelves is probably all you're going to be able to find with Hondas here in the U.S.
Really? It means you're not even going to be able to buy them anymore?
Nope.
I don't believe so. I saw an article a few months back about it. Yeah.
Well, that stinks.
I think they're seeing the rise of battery and the restrictions, and for some reason they're pulling their
bailing.
Yep. Yep.
No.
So I don't know if that's just mowers or actual the motors on equipment too.
Well, I sure hope it ain't the motors, because every single spray rig we have has a Honda GX160 on it. And those are the best motors in the world.
I'd be surprised if they got out of that, because I feel like they're such a large company with so many different things to them. I think that they're just kind of backing out of the lawnmowers, would be my guess, just because it's so specified. But my first mower was a Honda that I bought. I loved it.
Cool.
Yeah. So mowers, stick edger, string trimmer. What else you got?
You got to have a blower. You want to blow your mess up. And that goes back to the little bit of perfection, analism, or peculiar. Who in the world wants to mow the yard and leave grass clippings all over the sidewalk? It just drives me crazy. I tell my guys all the time, if I roll up to a property, I want to be able to take my lunch out of my truck and sit down and eat it off the ground, off the pavement, the driveway, the concrete. That's how clean I want it when you leave. And so you got to have a blower to do that. Broom, it just don't work out great. Get a blower. No. And two things that are kind of, maybe sort of, sprayer and a spreader. You can have a mower, trimmer, stick edger, blower, but you can pay somebody, a company, to do your treatments on your turf and make it look good. So you don't necessarily have to have that. But if you're going to do the full scale DIY and you want your turf to look good, you're going to need a sprayer of some sort, because most of the time you got to have a liquid to kill weeds and stuff. Of course, they make granulars for that too, but that's for a different video. And a spreader if you're going to put granular material out. So that would be my recommendations.
Yeah, we talked about herbicides last episode, and we're not big fans of them, the weed and feed products.
I can't stand them, man.
No.
There's a reason professionals don't use them. You know what I mean?
Well, not only that, is people don't read the bags, and they don't realize that they need to put it on like wet grass.
Exactly.
And so they don't see results. I mean, they'll get the green up from the fertilizer, but they're not going to get the killing of the weeds. So and they think they blame the product, which the product is partially to blame, possibly because it's not the best option out there, but it could have been more effective.
Most of it's user error is what it is. And timing. Like you said, the turf needs to be wet so that particle can stick to the weed so it can do its thing.
Absolutely. What kind of backpack sprayer do you like to run when you're just around your property? I know you probably boom spray a lot and stuff, but do you have a backpack sprayer that you're pretty fond of?
Yeah, I like a Flow Zone, and we got those on the website. And the reason I choose the Flow Zone is it's a pretty high quality sprayer. They're made really solid, and it's a battery powered. Two different types of sprayers. One you can pump, and you build the pressure inside the tank by pumping, and then as you squeeze the trigger, it releases the pressure and pushes the liquid out. Well, the thing I don't like about those is your pressure fluctuates, and your pressure has a lot to do with calibration, meaning how much material is, The speaker does work. The microphone does work. I talk with my hands if I'm doing this, paying no attention. That pressure has a lot to do with determining your calibration or a consistent calibration. So if you have pressure going up and down, your calibration is going to go up and down. So I like the battery powered, so you can click, 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 and put it on a set pressure. That way it's constant the whole time you're spraying. And, that's another thing. Pro guys don't use pump up sprayers. I mean, for spot spraying weeds and beds or Roundup and stuff like that, we do that. But when you're talking about getting out and making an application of a Pylex and triclopyr and MSO and ammonium sulfate in there as a kicker, and this application needs to be spot dead on, you don't want something with the pressure bouncing around. You want consistent pressure. And I'll preach that till the day I die, is something that motor or a battery power sprayer that keeps that constant pressure. And FlowZone's a great one to use for that.
Yeah, we all three of us, I think, are running flow zones now, and the PSI those things put out are impressive.
Mm-hmm.
And it was actually just about a year ago. Actually, Vince turned me on to this. I think it's called like your buddy sprayers, like your different your 3-pack of nozzles that you sell. I went on your website and I got a 3-pack of those last year, and there's the one that's like it's like a high output. It's like really great for stuff to get down in the soil, and I love it because like I can like almost sprint in my yard, and not quite, but I can spray really quickly and get the product down and get back inside.
Is that the one that sprays like 8-10 foot wide?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's really great for
the blue color nozzle.
It's amazing.
It might be the blue one.
Yeah.
It's the one that's always on my sprayer pretty much because unless I need to do like a foliar application or something. But that thing changed the way I apply things last year. So that was awesome. So that's just one of the products that you kind of have on your website that is unique. Stuff like that is kind of taking a nice sprayer and giving us nozzles that you can use with it for different applications just to make life easier.
Yeah. And that was one of when we first started doing the nozzle thing, people were just amazed that I'm spraying 8 foot wide with a backpack sprayer. I got emails saying, "You're crazy. There's no way you're doing it." I was like, dude, we've been doing it for 10 years in my business. What do you mean I'm not doing it? I'm literally showing you. And so, for a homeowner to be able to cover a wide area quickly with a small capacity sprayer, that's a big deal because it's a big time saver.
It was a game changer. I have the original ones. They're like a yellow or a green and a red. And I mean, it was amazing. You could spray your lawn in no time.
Imagine having those nozzles. My Toro Multi Pro has 4, 8, 9, 11 nozzles across the back of the boom. Imagine having 11 of those blue nozzles going across the football field. It's just, I love it, man.
So for all of the beginners out here, intermediates that have made it this far in this episode, who are asking themselves, there's a difference in nozzles. There's like multiple options of nozzles. Like nozzles are different. Battery versus hand pump. Take it from someone who is rocking a Scott's EdgeGuard Mini and a Yard King manual pump sprayer for like 3 years. The first year that I upgraded my spreader and my backpack sprayer, game changer. But to Pete's point earlier on lawnmowers, do it within your budget. There's no need for a beginner to go get anything that we're necessarily talking about, because there's a part of me that will always remember the mistakes I made with the EdgeGuard, with the hand pump sprayer that Pete kind of just talked about, with like the change in calibration and the change in pressure, that like makes you learn why all of these pieces of equipment are super important. You almost have to fail first to learn and create that habit. So I just wanted to point that out, because I think that was something I was super hesitant on in my journey, was like taking the deep dive into what we just talked about, was understanding that all of these things are different and why you would use this nozzle in this setting versus something different with a completely different product that you're trying to apply, so on and so forth. And that could be applied to anything. So I just wanted to get that out there, that you don't necessarily need to go get all of the things that the pros use. However, there will be a time and a place for that. Know where you're at in your journey and be proud of that and understand that and grow each day that you're doing it, and listen to this next summer, for example, and see where you're at and see how far you've come. So
another thing on that is intimidation.
For sure.
There is an intimidation factor to spraying liquid on your turf. And I cannot tell you how many hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people over the past 7 or 8 years that I've kind of coached and talked and relaxed them through being able to put a 3-way herbicide in their backpack sprayer and go spray their yard. To me, second nature, it's nothing to it, but I have to put it in my mind that these people think they're going to kill their grass if they make one tiny wrong move. It's my job to teach them that they're not and help them build the confidence. And that plays off what you just said, is before you jump into some of the big boy DIY equipment, you may need to get your confidence up with the little hand pump or a cheaper battery sprayer or something along those lines until you get comfortable and make sure you're going to like it and make sure you're seeing some results. Then go invest some money into it and get what you want.
Absolutely.
It's not an overnight journey for sure.
Or just take our advice and go buy one and have fun with it.
Yep. What was the promo code on Pete's website?
Pete, real quick, I mean, we touched on like your specific nozzles that you have on your website that you kind of designed. Is there anything else on your website that is unique to you, like things that you have, made, maybe patented, that people aren't doing anywhere else?
So yeah, I've basically taken my line of work and my passion with spray equipment from the pro level, and I've condensed it way down here so that homeowners can get their hands on it, and so that homeowners can use it and afford it. Some of the stuff I got on my website is pricey, but it's high-end stuff for a homeowner. So I got custom made spray guns, triggers is what we call them, spray booms. Like I got a 5 nozzle spray boom and a 2 nozzle spray boom. And then we got all the different nozzles we make. We make them all in house right there in North Carolina. The spray booms are handmade by us, so everything's just spot on. It's no, China mass production type cheap crap. It's all good stuff. I source out all of our materials from USA companies. I'm just a big proponent of that, big fan of that, and all this smaller stuff led into the Buddy line. And that's like my version of the homeowner sprayer is what that is. And it goes everywhere from a 5-gallon up to a 20-gallon. They're basically a skid sprayer, like commercial guys like we use on the back of our spray trucks. You see the trucks riding around, they dragging the hose and spraying the yard. It's basically that, but it's condensed down and it'll hang on your wall in your garage. And there's a 5, 10, 15-gallon option for that, and a 20-gallon, excuse me. And then there's another one that's probably right now the most popular one I got. It's the Cart Buddy. It's a 20-gallon option with a hose reel on it, and you push it around in your driveway and pull the hose out, spray your front yard, and it's all self-contained. You either plug the battery up and turn it on, or you plug it into the outlet in your wall and turn it on. It's got built-in agitation, so no more stirring and mixing manually. You just hit the button and start working. So we got that whole line of sprayers, and I got several others that we're working on, about to come out with before too much longer.
I'm pumped about that. cart sprayer. After you sent me a couple of videos, I've been binge watching. I was like, man, I can't wait to get one of those. It's just, it from what Chris said. You start out with the pump sprayer, and then you go to the backpack sprayer. And it's like, okay, that just made my spraying so much easier, to save so much time. But when you have more than 8,000 square feet, or your how much water or fluid you want to put down per 1,000 square feet changes, you might have to do 3 separate mixtures in a 4-gallon backpack sprayer. But if you can do it all in one tank and spray your entire lawn on a calibrated system perfectly every single time, that would save you so much time. So I'm personally super excited to try this out. I will try it out this year.
Yeah, that's kind of the purpose behind it. Is the most popular method of spraying for a homeowner is a backpack sprayer. Well, what are the limitations? You have 4 gallons, and that's all you have to work with. And if you want to spray at a certain rate or a certain calibration, like a gallon per 1,000, and I have a 12,000 or 16,000 square foot yard, that means I have to fill up 3 or 4 times to do that. And that's time. And homeowner, I don't know how valuable y'all's time is, but mine is ultra valuable. And I just don't want to spend that much time doing it. And I just know there's homeowners out there that don't want to either. So this sprayer lineup solves that. Who in the heck wouldn't want to go out there and fill up one time, go spray the yard, wind the hose up, and go back in and watch the ball game? And I'm done.
Yeah. Vince will still spend the exact same amount of time in the lawn.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he's not taking advantage of things.
It's easier. Now he gets to take a nap in his shed. So now, see,
what is a nap?
Wife doesn't know about the purchase. It's fine. Kids don't know any different because they're in bed. Vince is just taking a nap in the shed.
I think that's absolutely the reason why like spraying is it's so enjoyable for me sometimes, is having to refill my tank 2 to 3 times.
So annoying.
It just takes too long. And so if I can, spray at a rate where I'm able to like get at least only fill up twice, like do the front yard and backyard versus front yard, backyard, and side yard, it's just easy to calculate it out that way. I mean, I feel like that would be so much more enjoyable just to kind of fill up once and,
and that is such a strange concept to me, that I see so much of this online on the internet, that they will figure out the square footage for the front yard, and then figure out the square footage for the side, figure out the square footage for this side, and then the back. And I'm like, why are you spending that much time doing it? Just figure the square footage for the whole yard and calibrate your stuff and spray. You don't have to mix and spray this one and then go spray this section and mix and spray that. I'm like, what are you doing? You're wasting so much time. So that's kind of when I saw that was a really new concept to me, that I was like, what are y'all doing?
Guilty.
The only reason I'm laughing so hard at that is I literally wrote a blog on that like 3 days ago. Take this 1,000 square foot section, take your side yard, take your backyard.
It is a good way to learn, but then you can realize that, I could spray 10,000 square feet with this backpack sprayer if I just, dilute things differently. It's just all about your ratios, and it's part of growing in the process. Like, you might have this fancy backpack sprayer now I got to figure out how to use it and use it confidently.
Yep, that's right.
So if you want to start at a lower rate and not have to worry about, oh man, like I did half my property, but I had enough juice in there to do the whole thing, am I going to ruin something now? Because you just don't know how fast to walk or whatever.
And you got to remember, that's coming from the perspective of a guy who has never done it that way. So I'm not talking junk. I'm just trying to understand, like, why would you do it that way? Because we roll up to a property, get the hose off, and we spray the whole yard, get the truck and go. It's not like we have a tank for the right side of the yard, a tank for the left side, a tank for the back. So that was just really weird for me to understand that concept at first.
I think for me, I had what's that?
I said, come down to our level, Pete.
I think for me, I ran my front yard totally different to my backyard. And I got to the point where I was spraying bi-weekly, spoon feeding, and it took so much time up that I just started neglecting my backyard. I would do a couple granular apps and be done. Where then in the fall last year, I was then spraying my front yard differently than I'm spraying my side yard and still neglecting my backyard. So I'd like to streamline everything and spoon feed everything, but it's that time factor. So
how many square feet you got?
I think now I'm down to like 7,000.
20-gallon cart, buddy, baby.
I know.
All day long.
Pete. I know.
I think you got one customer right there, so I wouldn't worry about him.
It'll
Promo
happen.
called Lawn Feed.
He'll probably cash in right before that discount runs out.
Yeah, I just bought a power washer today and stuff, so I got a couple months for next tax season.
That goes back to what I said. Don't go borrow money to buy it.
Yep.
Save up, work hard, save you money, and then that'll, honestly, that'll make you appreciate. I'm not talking to you directly. I'm talking to everybody. That makes you appreciate things that you have even more.
For sure, it does.
If I worked hard and I get my hands on this thing, and then you just want to take care of it, and it lasts longer, and everything's hunky dory.
Absolutely. Is there any upcoming projects or new products coming out here in the near future that you're excited about and can tell us about?
Well, I've been bubbling to say this. I was like, hurry up and ask that question. I got my notes. Well, the 20-gallon cart, buddy, is out. Of course, that's been out. But the 50-gallon cart, buddy, I have everything in hand. Everything's ready to go, except.
Does it come with a forklift to move it?
No, you got to have one of those to move it.
Strong legs.
It's actually easier to push than you think, as long as you're on a hard surface. If you get off hard surface, it's going to be a beast. I can tell you that now. But the only thing we're working on right now, we've run all the numbers. We got to ship this thing in 3 different boxes. The tank and the frame is in a box. The hose is in a box, and the hose reel is in a 3rd box. So that's 3 different charges from UPS. Dry weight on all that's 200 pounds. We ran some shipping numbers the other day, and the shipping average cost is around $450 to $550.
Jeez.
That's just the shipping, and including the cost of the sprayer. So a good buddy of mine, Mark, who lives up there with you, I believe, in Wisconsin, and it's Wisconsin, right, Chris?
Minnesota, but we're all the same thing.
Same thing. Okay, he's in Wisconsin. Sorry. He works with a trucking company, and he said, hey, you ought to call these guys, and they can set you up with a lift gate and all that. That way we could actually build the sprayer fully, roll it up on a pallet. The lift gate truck shows up to the house, drops it, and you roll it off and start using it. And when you ship LTL like that, it's considerably cheaper than UPS when you're talking the big packages like that. So that's the only thing we're waiting on, is to finalize that shipping. And I just had a talk with the trucking company today, so they're getting their numbers and all sent to me. So as soon as all that's done, the 50-gallon will be out.
Sweet.
Yeah, the 50-gallon skid sprayer and a 50-gallon UTV sprayer. They're basically the exact same sprayer, but I'm just going to call them 2 different things to market it toward people with UTVs or people with a truck, and you want to put it in the back of your truck. And UTV is self-explanatory. If you got big yards and you want to use your UTV to spray it, you can.
Will they have like a boom attached to it then?
It will more than likely have a boom option, but probably to start, it's going to have like a flood jet type nozzle to where it will plug in, hook to the back of the machine, and spray 8, 10, 12 foot wide, something like that. Yeah. The boom, when you get into making booms for things like that, the price can get on up there, because it's a lot of things that you have to go into making a boom: the nozzle bodies, the clamps that hold the nozzle body, the boom itself, the valves, all that kind of thing. Whereas versus you got one nozzle and that's it, and with a boom less nozzle. And then the skid sprayer is basically going to be like for pro guys that or they're a little bit beyond a backpack sprayer, but they don't quite want to buy a 3, 4, 500-gallon skid sprayer, which will cost 5, 6, 7, 8 grand. They're just not there yet. So I'm going to kind of be right here in the middle waiting on those guys to help them get going with that. And of course, you'd be surprised at how many people have emailed me and said, I'm going to throw that thing in the back of my truck and spray my grass with it. And these are homeowners. And I'm like, sure, have at it, brother. Go for it. So
that's exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited. And then one more. It's one more coming.
There's more?
Yeah, there's more, brother. I haven't decided on. Well, I've decided on the name. It's the GCI Turf Spot Buddy, like for spot spray. And I haven't decided how I want to market this yet. But there's a 3-gallon, 5-gallon, and 10-gallon option. And the 3-gallon and the 5 and the 10 are going to mount to almost anything. If it's got a motor, let's take out push mowers, take out residential, 21-inch, 30-inch push mowers. Any kind of zero turn, stand on, walk behind, tractor, Ventrac, anything like that, it will mount to it. And it would be used for like spot spraying, like, lawn care companies could mount it to their mower, and in between their normal routine applications to the yard, if they're mowing this turf, it's, oh man, I got a weed right there, but it's not scheduled to be treated for another 10 days. Well, they can have some herbicide in the spot sprayer and go zap, and they don't even have to come back. They knock it out while they're there. Or, big parking lots, companies that spray big parking lots and with Roundup or something like that. They just ride around on their mower and spot spray instead of toting a backpack. Homeowners with big yards that may use a zero-turn mower, it'll mount to the mower, and you don't have to walk that 2-acre yard or 1-acre yard to backpack weeds. You can ride around and do it. And so there'll be a 3, 5, and 10-gallon option in that. And that actually stemmed off of my Toro Multi-Pro. It's a 175-gallon tank, 185-gallon tank. And my Bermuda fields stay really clean for the majority of the year. And then summer months, you'll get a weed over there and a weed over there and a weed over there, and that's it. Well, there's no way to spot spray with it. So I would have to go back to the truck, get a backpack sprayer, try to straddle it in between my legs on the machine, ride out to the weed, try to remember where it was at, spot spray it, and doing that for 40 fields is a headache. And it doesn't make sense to mix a herbicide in the tank and blanket spray the entire field to kill 2 weeds. Don't make sense. It ain't financially common sense. So that's why I created this Spot Buddy, was for that. And then I got to thinking, well, gosh, they like the other sprayers. I'm sure they'll like this one too. So it's right around the corner.
That's awesome. We're looking forward to that. So guys, if you, again, are interested in any of this equipment or just taking a look at it, putting on your wish list to work up to for next year, make sure you head over to Pete's website. We'll have that linked below in the description. And if you want a little discount, use code LawnFeed. That's available from 4/11 to 4/18. On behalf of the LawnFeed crew, Pete, thank you for joining us. And thank you to everyone listening to us, whether you're on the road or watching us on YouTube. Thank you for joining. Thank you for listening. Be sure to head over to our website, lawnfeed.com, and grab yourself a new Mow Time t-shirt or Big Grass Guy t-shirt, and use promo code BRAD15 to save 15% off your entire order. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye-bye.
See you guys.
See you.